Hi, I'm Dr. Sara NasserZadeh.
And I'm Dr. Altman, and we're here today on Love Bytes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sara NasserZadeh with my co-host Dr. Altman at Love Bytes, and we're delighted to have Dr. Jane Greer in Manhattan. We're sitting here and we were just chatting off camera about how creative Dr. Greer is in using all these mediums. Like, she's an author, she's a therapist, she has an office as a marriage and family therapist, she's a radio host, and now you were telling us about this website that you started.
Thank you. It's a shrink wrap. What we can learn from the trials and triumphs of celebrity relationships. We're all intrigued with celebrities. We want to know the nitty-gritty, what's going on in their lives, what's going on in their bedrooms. And really, it's not just the fascination because we want to be like the stars and we want to have that kind of excitement in our lives, but I took shrink wrap and I turned it into, if this is going on for Eva Longoria, if she's going through a betrayal, what does it mean for you? How do you cope with a betrayal? And so I've really taken the celebrity experiences and activities to personalize it and give you a quick kind of sugar-coated, here's the package of tips and skills that you can use if you're dealing with a similar problem, because everybody does look at the celebrities and says, well, if they can get through it, so can I.
Yeah.
But how?
And if it happens to them, then it can happen to me.
Exactly.
Well,
and so
certainly. And let me give you an example in my office as a gynecologist and as a sexual medicine specialty. A patient who I've known for a long time allows information to me that she's having an affair. Now, we allow that to happen in the office, and we encourage it to happen in the office because I talk to that. I ask people direct questions, not, hey, are you having an affair? You know, how are things going relationship-wise, so forth. And the trust is there, so a patient recently said to me, okay, I want to tell you something. I've been having an affair now for just under a year. And I said, okay, well, tell me how that came to happen, or what brought you to that decision, which was a very neutral, you know, not a negative, not a positive, just leaving it open. And she said to me, well, you know, I kept saying Harry, made up name, I want to go to the art museum, and Harry didn't want to go to the art museum. He wanted to stay there and watch the football game. And then when I turned 50, I said, Harry, I want to go to the art museum. And he said, no, I'd rather stay here and watch the basketball game. She said, okay, Harry, I'm going to the art museum. Who does she meet at the art museum? Other people who like to be in art museums. And what do I hear from her? He listens to me. He notices what I'm saying and what I'm doing. It means something. We mean something to one another. And then she ends it, because I want to go rambling on, but she ends it by saying, and this is the best thing that ever happened to my marriage. Basically, she's saying, this has allowed me to continue in my marriage.
exactly right.
Tell us about that.
You know, it's such a great example, Alan, because I want to go to the art museum. She was talking about her passion. See, it was not passion in the bedroom, but it was the passion that was getting completely eclipsed in her marriage, and her passion for life was getting doused. And her marriage was probably really stale, and her husband wasn't listening to her. She was probably feeling lost, and decided to be true to herself, went to the art museum, took her own passion seriously, and ignited into a passionate love affair. But it gives you, it energizes you when you're in a relationship where you're feeling related to, your needs are being met, you feel important, you have more tolerance, more patience for your spouse, for the activities of daily living, all the frustrations in my book on selfishness, what about me? I call it paper cuts. We all have those little issues that annoy us. It's like a little paper cut. But when they build up and they build up, you know how painful a paper cut can be. It's a little thing, but boy, it can annoy the heck out of you.
Now, we got to add a disclaimer here. We're not saying to go out and have an affair. We're just talking about there's negative. We've done a segment on that. There can be some positive, but boy, it's complicated as hell.
It's really complicated. I was going to simply respond that a lot of times the animosity and the anger, when one person cheats in a relationship, sometimes the other person cannot bring themselves to forgive and forget until they level the playing field and have what I call the tit-for-tat affair. So a lot of times I'll see with couples that it's so layered that it started with he or she cheated, now they're up to the other partner's infidelity, and it's going back and trying to peel back the layers of who fired the first bullet is always a challenge.
But I have to say, you know, just listening to the two of you, which is fascinating, and thinking about all the couples that I've seen that, you know, they've been through this, like one of them had an affair of any sort at any level with another person. The way that I describe it to my couples is that your level of relationship was green. It would never ever be green ever again. But if you work through it, maybe you get to a very colorful orange. Because the relationship would never be the same.
Right.
But then, you know, it's just a matter of how you work through it to get to that, you know, orangey level, which might be actually quite colorful, much better than the green one. But on the other hand, also, I have to mention there's this great book also by Esther Perel talking about, you know, mating in captivity, and also Tammy Nielsen, you know, people who are working on infidelity like yourself. They all discuss this fact that we can't expect one person to be everything and everyone to us. That lady, the patient of yours, who couldn't find an art companion, so to speak, if she had a very good friend, this gentleman could be a friend of hers. They could go to the museum, they could enjoy the art without the sex. So they can have that passion, right?
I agree with you on paper, absolutely. In life,
it translates to other things.
Translates.
I agree. But if you create the relationship, I think you agree with me, Dr. Greer, that, you know, when you are in a relationship from the beginning, you have to have your own hobbies. He has to have, you know, his own hobbies, and then create something together. Because if we bring everything to one person, it's too much pressure.
Well, it's exactly what I talk about in What About Me, that there's the me in the relationship and there's the we, and it's essential that there's a balance.
Absolutely.
You can't be all me and you can't be all we, because you'll wind up getting lost.
Absolutely, and we'll bring this to a close, but Dalma Hine wrote a book. I don't even remember the title of the book, but it had something to do with marriage. And the idea was that at her wedding, she took all her prior love letters and threw them out. Disposing of your past and yourself to enter into this, and that's the worst thing you can do. You know, when you say he brings his talents and ideas, she brings her talents and ideas, and there's a place in a long-term relationship to maintain those. And to keep things separate. It doesn't all have to be done together, because it keeps each of you more interesting. So let's come back to that as well.
Great topic.
Absolutely.